Hi guys, hello. It's time for well, I'm going to kind of end this series, but I'm going to start it again. It will be beginning again in the next week or so, and it will be revised. There'll be more effort going into these, and I want to make this kind of like the centerpiece of content for the channel for what I'm doing basically. So I'm gonna try and keep you guys updated with how that actually is gonna go, because I have a really jam-packed schedule, and so what I want to do is I actually want to make this into a live show, and then throw it up onto YouTube straight away basically. So that's kind of the goal with it, and very similar to how Dayline would do his dailies, like he would do it in that way. And but the thing is that unlike him, where he would be going to school during a huge portion of when he was actually doing these dailies, and he'd have his evenings free. For me, it's kind of the opposite, in that my evenings are taken up by casting, and there's probably gonna be lots of casting and lots of things that will mess with any potential schedule I could have for it. So that means I'm gonna have to pre-record some of them, and then put them live, because I want to I don't want to just do them when I'm available, and it makes sense for the stream to do it live. I'm going to do it live when I can, and pre-produce them if I can't, if I know that because of the schedule that's coming up I won't be able to do it live, but I'll still broadcast them and try to have some consistency with that. So and that means also that in each each demo analysis that I'll do, we'll have more of a focus, more of a point towards it. I'm not going to just load up a demo, which is what I'm going to do now. This is how I've been doing it so far, and then just say, oh, okay, this is that, and instead I will already have watched the game. I'll have a point for us to actually be looking at, and we'll try to learn some things that are more specific instead of the more general approach which I usually go with. So that's where I'm going to be taking this. So, well, this is going to be the last one where I just jump in. Gfinity's coming up, and of course I'm going to be doing commentary at Gfinity. So I picked a game between Titan and Envious, as they always manage to get in the same group as each other, and we're going to have to see how that actually ends up this time. But I thought it'd be interesting, as part of my event preparation, to jump in and look at a game between Envious and Titan. So this has been a 3-minute introduction. So we're going to be looking at a cash match. So let's jump into it. Now, I've had some issues recently with the demo playback, like buggy demo playback. So if there continues to be issues, then that's gonna, well, I guess we'll just have to deal with it as it happens. But anyway, here we go. So this is going to be the pistol round, and the suggestion I had was to let the rounds play out a little bit. Is that too loud? This should be better. To let the pistol rounds play out a little bit before I actually do a huge analysis of it, which I thought was a pretty cool idea actually. So we're going to look at the round as it progresses, and already we can see a squeak push, and we had our Apex just pushing in through A main whilst the squeak push is going on. So a huge take of A main and squeak to basically preemptively try to kill any Ts. If they're going to smoke over into a set play, then they would have blown that up basically. And of course, because they're able to clean out A main and A, they know exactly where the opponents are going. So far it's actually pretty good here from Titan. They've actually taken a lot of really awesome steps, and Envious have adapted quite well. So it just it becomes the kind of slugfest, the aim duel slugfest that is typical to any pistol round. So retake coming in here. All right, let's talk about some concepts here. So see, okay, this is one of the bugs I'm telling you about. See, this will not happen right now. I'm telling it to go back around, but it's not doing it. So I think it's just for round one. I checked this earlier. Okay, so first things first. Why did they make the decision to go towards? Oh, here's another bug. Like, my minimap is just like, it won't pop in and pop out with the same key. As you can see, there's some shit going on here. We'll try to ignore it and just progress and hope that these things get fixed, or I can fix them. Anyway, so why are they doing this? Why are they going into the A main and squeaky area? Now, the typical opening on this map, and generally speaking, the safest opening on any map, is to play like 4 players around B and then go for the retake into A, because it's a much more open bomb site. It's very, very open, much easier to retake, and B is much harder to retake, as we just saw when MVS actually switched up their play towards the B. So basically they're saying, hey, okay, well, we want to make sure that we have this site under lock and key, that if you're going to move in, we're going to smash you down and everyone is happy, apart from you. You're not very happy because you lose a round. And if they go A, well, it's like, well, hey, we took this kind of gamble. We know that we don't have to worry about B. We know that we're not going to get overwhelmed. And now going into the A retake, we can take it together. And this is generally kind of a very common principle. Seems like, okay, it's a very common principle when it comes to any pistol round, and you guys can apply that to all your teams as well, because it's pretty safe. Basically, it's something which can also be very consistent, because you can always use this opening. And again, if they do go for the A plant, you're saying, okay, we're going to let you have the plant, but by the time we've got there, any set grenades that you've used, they're going to be gone. They're all going to be gone. We're going to move in as a unit, as a team. We're going to take the aim duels, use our team play, use our angles together. And the cool thing about this is because of the fact that you can kind of always do it, your team will have a lot of routine in doing it all, like again and again and again. Of course, the situation of by giving them the planting money is never super nice, but again, it's a safer opening. And I do actually I do suggest that you try this on all maps, like, because you can find this opening. Just figure out which site is easier to actually to retake and which is harder to retake. On some maps, it's going to be a little bit too close, because it's very, very clear on a map like this that B is super hard to retake, as it is very clear that B on Mirage is also super hard to retake. And these are the two maps which are you'll most commonly find a play like this. It's much less common on a map like Dust 2, and the reason is because although B is easier to, although B is like kind of hard to retake still on Dust 2, spreading your players out has a lot of value, because generally speaking, the rotation is so long, and you can't get super good angles into A anyway. So it's just better to spread your players out, get the information, because otherwise you've got loads of dudes just all in one spot, and you don't really have like easy ways to push. Because for example, on the B site, if we look here on the B site, you can, if you've got 4 guys here, let's say you've got 4 guys here, you can easily boost into mid for a fast rotation. You can easily push 2 players or 3 players down here, leave 1 here, and then go for the rotate with the rest of the players. Now this is something that some teams actually do when you have the 4 guys here. Like, you'll wait for a certain timing, and you're kind of gambling, saying, okay, if it's 110 and well, it's maybe a little bit too late. If it's like 125 or something, and they already haven't pushed this area, we need to push aggressively now and then preemptively rotate. And by having a guy here who can give very, very quick warning, or even by having someone who's able to listen in around this area in mid, it gives you the ability to preemptively rotate. And that's kind of an important concept when you're going to play kind of stacking, the stacking kind of gameplay styles. Now, so yeah, what's cool about this is they're playing against the meta game here, because if there was a set play coming in, these 2 guys are going to basically kill people who are out of position here with nades in their hands. Apex is going to get a fast angle here, and they're going to find out exactly what's happening. So they're basically playing against the fact that they're predicting Envious is going to go against the meta against the meta game. The meta game being let's say 4 players here again. Okay, this color might not be super good actually. Let me change this color. Okay, let's change the color again. What's a good color? Green. Okay, oh, that's much better. So let's say you've got 4 players stacked here, and then you've got 1 player like over here, because this is how kind of typically how it would look like. Then you're going to expect the ETs to say, okay, well, we know that you're stacking B, so the safest thing is to actually just go for the A execute, and then at least we know we're guaranteed a bomb plant. So basically, Titan are playing against the standard meta game there. So it's pretty simple stuff. All right, so let's go into the next round then and see what happens, and see if it's going to be an interesting one. So of course we're going to get the force up here. where is my money? Why can't I see the money? On this, okay, well this will do. So we're gonna get the force up here from most of the Titan players. Now they've done this in a way where they're forcing up apart from Kenny S, so that Kenny S can have some cash for his AWP when the time comes. And the same situation for RPK. He's not investing fully. Let's check out what RPK bought. Did he get dropped something? Or I'm not sure actually why RPK has the ability to have spent 1,100. They would have gotten 1,400. So interesting that he's got so much money left. Anyway, I guess it doesn't matter too much really, to be honest. It's not going to make a massive difference. But we're going to see how they set up here, because this is an interesting spot. Because I'm sure all of you guys have been in a position where you're like, okay, we've got the force up. What are we going to do with our force up? What kind of options do we have? Now we're going to see the options that Titan go with. Okay, so we can see here that Titan have RPK in this position. Now the reason why this angle is actually really nice is because if I can get to the frickin', there we go. So if we can spot the players shooting him, it is, I think, one of these guys. Shocks. You can see that there's quite a fine angle. He's only going to be showing his head really. He can peek in and out of this angle that Shocks is looking at. And from that range, it's kind of a medium range. He's going to be able to potentially get a kill and also get some information. So despite the fact that it's a very committed position, with the pistols, you're going to have to take gambly spots like this anyway. So I kind of like this from RPK. So this is something that you can definitely steal. But they've decided otherwise to go for more of a B stack kind of play, where you can see most of the players are towards B. And of course, something you always have to bear in mind when you're in a round like this is you don't have to. Let's say the way that the T's move doesn't necessarily go with the kind of stack that you've committed to. Let's say it's going to go to the A bomb site in this case, and we've got pretty much everyone towards B. So if you're in a retake situation, then you want to apply the same mentality as if you had a full save, where again the only thing that you can do is just hold the exit frags. You've got Kevlar, you've got 5.7, CZs, all that kind of stuff. So hold for the exit frags. That's going to be where you find the most value, because actually bringing the 5.7 armor, the CZ armor, whatever it is, into the next round is going to be really helpful, because as you know, being CTs, despite losing the round, you still get the money bonus. They're going to get $1,900. And then after that round, they're going to be able to buy. So you get this extra opportunity to deal more damage, because maybe they don't go for the same setup in the next round. Maybe they do go and try to attack into B. You're basically spreading your opportunities much better, instead of just saying, I'm going to go in and get a kill and just treating the Kevlar pistol as if it's meaningless or useless. I definitely see that a little bit too often. So don't be one of those people. I think about how much value there is in having the 5.7 armor, into the next round, and again, you don't have to commit yourself to die here. Think about the trades that you're getting for your investment. So if we go back into this round, we can see how this actually progresses. So you can see how RPK actually even does get a frag there. So that's pretty awesome, to be honest. So let's speed this up a little bit. So just taking mid, they're sitting on middle. This is pretty standard stuff here, just being reactive. They have so much time to use. Like, god damn it. I wanted to do this. They have so much time to use that that basically there is nothing to lose by doing this. You put your opponents, you pressured them, you're basically like putting pressure on the wound. You're waiting for them to make a response, make a move, because you have the advantage. You've already got the advantage. So, and you have the time to wait and see what the reaction is from them. And if you're able to hold your positions well, then you'll have an even better advantage still on some of the angles in which you attack. So it looks like MVS decided to go for that B play. And there's really no way they could have known exactly where the remaining Titan members would have been. So Kyoshim was actually working on an ace here. That's quite cool. So there's no way they could have known where they were going to be. So all they're going to have to do is say, okay, let's move together, and that's that. So let's go into the next round. Let's skip into this one. So we're going to see the buy here. So Kenny S is going to be able to pick up the AWP. So first things first, when we're looking at this round, is essentially we want to see what Kenny S is going to do with the AWP. Which position is he going to cover? Because you've got a star player situation here with Titan, of course. I like how they're all sliding around. I'm telling you guys, for some reason, there's like demo playback is really buggy for me lately. But yeah, so Kenny S is going to go towards the A site here, and now he's got some cover. So let's just look at this setup. Yeah, he's got Maniac here as well. Now this is quite cool because if there is an execute, oftentimes they're going to, like, Kenny S needs to basically take the shot to the player that's peeking here. Now if he misses, their focus is all going to be like basically on this position. They're going to have like loads of, you know, exclamation marks around Kenny S's position. Man, this is the shittiest exclamation mark I've ever drawn in my life. Why can't I even draw? Why can't I draw here? What the fuck? What the hell? Wait, maybe if I do it like this. What the okay, this is really buggy. Guys, I can't make a dot. This is really frustrating. I want to make a dot. Jesus. Anyway. You just have to imagine that there's loads of like exclamation marks, like it's Metal Gear Solid, where they're going to be really focusing on this player in this position. And usually you wouldn't expect a player in such close proximity to another player. So Maniac is going to go pretty much unnoticed, and so his angle is basically like this. He's not supposed to peek here. His angle is like this, and as they move into this position, they're looking towards Kenny S, and they're going to find themselves at the mercy of Maniac's rifle. So it's a really nice kind of setup between these two players, something you should definitely mix in. And what they're also doing is they're putting some pressure on mid early on in the match. So with this early mid pressure, they're going to be able to successfully deal with anyone on the boost. As you can see, Apex has the angle below. He's got support from RPK, who can also actually cover Apex and help him with the fight. So they've got both areas also covered, left and right, if players were going to jump through the smoke as well, which is a very common move if you're trying to take over this middle area. So this is very basic map control. It's a solid but defensive play on A. It's a solid and kind of proactive, information-rich forward position on middle, which is quite safe. And we'll probably see Apex backing off after some time. And then, of course, they've got a super defensive Existence, who's not even really in the site. He's up on the heaven kind of slope area here, and he's only got a rifle. So it's this is a huge weakness right now. A lot of teams will play a lurker into this area, which means that it's very important for RPK to actually survive, because RPK is in a position where Existence can pop flash him in for peaks. Now, that's why this area is so important, because the information they spot in this area and this area gives them the kind of idea of whether they need to be throwing whether Existence needs to throw this pop flash, whether there is any danger in this area. Usually you would expect one player to be in this area, so like a lurker or something, trying to get some distractions going, trying to create an opening for the T side. And we can see that it's a really big split so far from Envious. So let's play things out, because we've discussed now how Titan's defense is going to work early on. Now it's all going to be about how they react to what they see. So still on the minimap here, we see Apex moving pretty close under the boost spot. Now Kenny S is now moving backwards a little bit. So 120 is the time, and you've always got to be very cognizant of this thing up here, this item timer. So item timer, man, that's some Quake roots coming back at you. So at the time of the round, if nothing has happened in the first 25 seconds, now a Titan like, okay, we're fairly sure there's not going to be a rush necessarily, and these two positions are very good at dealing against rushes. Again, because in a rush is very chaotic, all the focus is going to be on dealing with this player, because usually this is completely smoked off. So anyone in the kind of these back angles is completely useless, and the biggest danger is a player here and a player here in these spots. So this is really a very good way to deal with rushes, because you actually do get the kills to allow an easier retake from your mates. So that's kind of what these positions were about. Good picking, good cover, good anti-rush. So now the quick rush timing has actually dissipated. Kennius is going to reposition a little bit so that he's actually able to see the door, because if it's not going to be a rush straight away, then you're in a situation whereby it's probably they're probably going to be going for a kind of a pick-based play. So if they're trying to harass and doing pick-based play, there is very likely going to be someone on the door. So Kenny S is going to be able to actually spot the door by repositioning towards short. He's also going to be able to support middle if a delayed middle take comes in, and this is something that's very, very prevalent and is more likely to happen than Envious going for a delayed A main play. Of course, it depends on the team, but this is, I think, how Titan have read the situation based on how they're moving around the map. So as we go back to the mini map now, indeed we can see Kanish going straight down to middle, and so we're oh, if you zoomed in, that's why it's so dark. Lol. Okay, so still nothing here. Envious playing a really slow round. Now often this can be very stressful, because if we imagine ourselves in Titan's position, they've seen nothing here. They've seen nothing here. The door has not been opened. They've seen nothing in middle, nothing on the boost, nothing in B storage. However, Existence is still, where is he standing? Okay, he's still standing up on this position. So very defensive position here, but again, he can see the legs of anyone moving through here. He can flash for RPK. He can easily fall back down and play for retake, or he can easily drop onto the site if he actually wants to actually more thoroughly support RPK and generate some crossfires. So it's kind of a nice support position for Existence to be playing. And with the 3 men in mid, they are very strong against delayed mid take, which again, very common in the metagame to have a delayed mid take around this timing. So Titan have prepared for that. Now MBK is just being that lurker here in the B storage area, just trying to harass a little bit. Now this has finally forced out the smokes from Titan, and you can see that this could be a little bit of a mistake for them to have forced out smokes so late, because as we can see again, we look at the timer, it's 47. We just had the smokes pop here in this area. So if they want to go for a split play through mid and through B, through mid and through B storage towards the B execute, then now these guys in the B storage area are going to be staggered on the push, and there's smoke in mid still as well. So when these smokes go away, it's going to be like 30 seconds. So that's going to put Titan in a spot where they are more able to understand exactly how their opponents will commit, and then they get the opportunity to preemptively rotate in position to deal with it as optimally as possible. So right now we're going to have a spot where MBK is quite likely that he's going to want to jump over this smoke, because they need to get something happening right now. So let's actually, oh my god. So there you go. He actually went over the smoke, but Existence was looking for it. It's quite a common move to make, and Apex is now killing the guys in the middle area as they pushed over. So they did try to go for this B split, but you can see the smokes really were the problem. And if we look back at this, we can really clearly see that the problems for this delayed play, or the biggest mistake I would say for this delayed play from Envious, was that they didn't bait out the smokes, because we could see that when they wanted to go for the push, they were playing really passively, so they were kind of hoping to quash any aggressive moves from Titan, but they didn't come. So by the time they were like, okay guys, we kind of need to build into a play here, and they were looking for the B split, hit up middle, and for a very delayed timing, and also B storage in. Their lurker, MBK, in this spot was not providing any presence in B storage, so he wasn't forcing any smokes out. There was no fear from Titan. They had so much presence in middle, and they had no fear of the B split, and they just held onto their grenades. They waited to throw the last grenades around 47 seconds, meaning that it's going to be 25 to 30 range by the time the execute comes in. Envious realized that they probably have a better chance to win the round if they don't wait for the smokes, which is actually, I think you can make a good argument for that. But the problem seemed to be that the smokes were way too was so delayed that, and Envious should have forced them out basically. So let's jump into the next buy rounds. Let's see what we can see. So 2 rounds, 23 minutes. That's how I roll. Yeah, the future ones I guess will be more focused. But here we're kind of going over pretty much everything that comes to mind for me when I'm looking at these matches and trying to explain what I see. Okay, so is there a buy here? So this is this is a cool kind of round to talk about. Without having seen it. Okay, so MBK does love to abuse the scout mechanics, but we've got, double AWP from, let's first of all just wait until the setup, oh my god, setup comes into play. Quick note, there is 3 smokes, oh yeah, 3 smokes, so it's likely that they're gonna, go for the usual smokes onto the bomb site and, something like this, probably to cut off vision there and allow them to split into the bomb site, get a quick plant. And how many rounds have they lost in a row? Okay, so they've lost 2 rounds in a row. The economy is pretty much untouched for Titan. They've managed to win 2 in a row, losing only 1 man each time. So This was 1400, 1900, so 2400 is going to be received on their next loss. And then if they manage to get the bomb down as well, then they're going to be on 3200. So will that allow them to buy? No, they'll still be on eco, even if they get the bomb down. So you can see that it's actually, I mean, it's going to be really nice, but it's not going to. But if they get the bomb down, it's not going to mean that they can have immediate pressure on the economy of Titan, which is actually kind of important. Sometimes you've got to consider how time sensitive economy pressure can be. And again, even if they don't get the bomb down, they can't really heavily pressure Titan's economy. If they had 3200 though, they could actually Tech 9. They could actually Tech 9 armor potentially, because the Tech 9 armor is probably going to result in a bomb plant as well if they go for an execute. And it's envious after all; they're very good at that kind of stuff. So then it becomes a situation where, because of the style of the team and because of the fact that they're so good with the Tech 9 armor plays, that getting the bomb down here is actually really important for them, because Tech 9 armor allows them to put immediate pressure on the economy, which is building and building, and also the double orbs have come into play. So the best way to actually, in theory, take out the double orbs or remove them from efficacy is by doing a fast set play with smokes to cover off the angles. Now, last note before we watch the round play out is that with all these lack of grenades, also or better way to put it, with the severe lack of grenades, right? They've got to play a faster round because they need to get the nades in. They've got to be valuable, and the nades do provide a lot of value, but if there's only 3, you want to use them together, it's kind of a no-brainer, to be honest. And Titan should be predicting that this kind of play should come in if they're reading the money correctly. So let's see how it actually executes here, because they should be looking for a fast A play here. From the fact that they've taken A main, that the bomb is all the way up there. But they're going to know as well Kenny S is going to be on this kind of an angle. And he's already looking for this through the tiny gap in the smoke there. So, and he's playing it slow. And Shocks, he's got a nade here. Is that going to go for the connector? Hang on. Let's see where that goes. Oh, dirty position here. Yeah, so that's gonna, you can see that's oh my god, that's gonna cover off behind and connector. So this is quite an efficient way to use smokes, because instead of using the wall of smokes, which expends 2 of the 3 smokes and then gets them into B where they're still gonna need more smokes, it's giving them the opportunity to, when they get into the site, potentially that they'll have the best kind of site defense. So they're really playing to win the round here. But this position from Apex is pretty awesome, to be honest. Oh, he's going to already spot ahead, and really well timed Molotov also from Titan. So they are playing things very smart. Now, so a question that I have is, how did Titan know when to throw that Molotov? And this is something you might be asking as well, because we saw an awesome Molotov there, and you see this in matches, it happens all the time. Oh, is it going to work? Yes. Okay. So we're going to look now from Apex's perspective and see how they... Okay, who actually has the incendiary, first of all? Okay, so it is Apex. So let's look and see how Apex understands when to throw that Molotov. And also you'll get to see how he throws it. So first things first, he's taking mid by himself. There's no presence here really from the T's just yet, which is kind of nice. And this is Titan switching up their setup as well. They're keeping things mixed up because they've got the double ops in play. So they're really strong on A and B, and they can give up middle completely. So smoke goes in around 120 for Apex. So a bit of a delayed smoke, and then that's going to allow him to make this aggressive move up on this kind of like railing the lip for the metal gate, metal door. And he's okay. So his cue here was seeing the grenade, and you got an idea of how you can like rewind the video to see how he threw that incendiary. But it's really cool again how he used the smoke his smoke in mid to jump up into this position, which is quite surprising. And let's think about this as from another perspective. Okay, so if they were going for this execute when they're throwing the nades over, and let's not forget how late this is actually. Well, it's not happening super late into the round, but let's not forget that they have just thrown their very limited, like 1 or 2 of their very limited amount of grenades in. So they're kind of committing themselves into a push on middle. So what Apex does by throwing this incendiary is actually stagger, because the push is supposed to come in from 2 sides at once, but he's staggered it now. They cannot go over the top unless they want to run through the flames, which is, I mean, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt badly and probably result in death. So if there are players who would move through the smoke that he has thrown on middle now, he's going to get easy kills from his position because they don't even necessarily know exactly where that incendiary even came from. They didn't see the trajectory, so he could be anywhere. So he's got a really good position to actually completely destroy this by killing the guys coming out mid and then mid main, and then the ones when they come over the top, he can kill them. So really good stuff here from Apex. Let's see what information he gets here as well. So he's going to fall back immediately and go towards a little bit, just stay on short. Existence has taken a bit of damage, dueling with MPK's scout. So MPK has tagged Existence towards B. So we're in a situation for Envious where there's 45 seconds left in the round, more or less, and they have decided to go for their middle take. Apex has given that to them to reinforce the A bomb site. Now this is quite smart actually, because in Apex reinforcing this A bomb site, he's able to have really strong team play, kind of trade situations with this team, and of course Kenny S is able to watch his back. They've got this smoked off, so they're really safe here. All they need to do to work out with this time left in the round where the play is going to go is by actually either pushing into B storage or pushing into A main. If they weren't wanting to do a push like this to confirm what was going on, they really need to keep presence in middle. You can't just give up presence in middle and say, okay, we don't want any information now. So I really like that the realization comes from Titan here to say, okay, we're giving up middle and all the information it gives us to confirm the play at this kind of time in the rounds by pushing A main or having someone really close to A main who can get pop flashed in. I believe he's going to push in, yeah. So, okay, here we go. Pop flashed in, and now it's confirmed. 39 seconds left, no sign of anybody in this area. So, are we going to see the immediate rotation from Kenny S? Yes. He's got his knife out even, he's rotating fully, a little bit careful of the connector area, and now he's found himself in position. So again, you can see Titan have created a situation where they always kind of know what they're doing. They're always in the right spots at the right time, and it's because they understand how to play the information game. Because this was all about the information game. So here we go, we got Kenny S. Oh no, he's going to miss some shots here. But he's in the right place at the right time. He's able to catch them. They don't have any smokes left, but the bomb does go down. So we've pretty much covered everything in this round. It's just retake coming in. It's definitely turned out pretty badly for Titan. I would say that Titan played this round very well, to be honest. But you know, it's always going to come down to hitting the shots, and we did see Kenny S missing like 2 shots there. He got a connection on Kyo, I think, and straight up missed the guy carrying the bomb to the site. So those are shots that Kenny S just cannot miss for his team to do well. So now Envious have actually won the round. Titan still have enough money for a buy, but they just spent so much on the AWPs that they're going to get into some trouble. So let's look at this last round before we close the video off, as we've already come to 32 minutes in this one, and see exactly what is going on. Okay, again, we'll do a pause once we've seen the setup and we've considered what's going in to the thought process there based on the weapons. So we have Kenny S on short, Apex and RPK pushing through mid, and this is basically a really fast timing for RPK to get onto the vent. But the thing is that's cool here is that they've actually decided to give RPK an extra hand in having Apex here, and Kenny S who's moved basically down from where his normal position would be, and he's up on middle really fast as well. Now this could be because they're reading a very different, like they could be reading into the situation and saying, hey, you know what, we think that Envious are going to switch up the pace now. Because this is what happens with the top level teams. They're always going to switch up the pace to the rounds to keep you guessing, so you can never really be on the same setup. Also have to remember that they've only got 1 AWP instead of 2 now, so they're deciding to have more presence towards middle so that they can actually try to circumvent the weapon disadvantage that they have potentially, because we have an AWP on Happy now, we've got Apex on a FAMAS, only Kenny S with an AWP, and they are lacking grenades. So this kind of stuff would mean usually that you want to try to find your advantage proactively as a CT team. This is either by taking strong map control, or it's by taking a risk to get kind of again, basically strong map control. I mean, well, not necessarily strong map control, but like map control that eliminates certain options. So if you take B storage, or if you take A main, you know, these kinds of plays work out very well if you have a limited amount of grenades. Because what do the grenades do for us? Grenades not only slow down the enemies, They prevent them from pushing, or they make their pushes more difficult. When you're retaking sites, it makes it easier for you to retake sites. It makes it easier for you to use your grenades as counter grenades to hurt their pushes that are coming in to get more kills on the defense. However, if you don't have many grenades to do these things, how can you have the same effect with less grenades? Well, you do so by having players play forward positions, because you get information which allows you rotations, which essentially kind of slows them down. If you know, it's the same effect as slowing them down, because the point of slowing them down is that so that you eliminate the options, and because it's late into the round, because it's a slow round, because you've used all your grenades. So you slow them. So instead here you're pushing and getting map control and information, which allows the preemptive rotation, or the rotation that can get in position quickly enough, which is what it's about as the CTs. It's about having the rotation in place, so you have the best positions to defend what is going to hit whichever bomb site or position that you're worried about. So you have this again. This is how you cope with a low grenade or low or weapon disadvantage situation. So that's kind of what they're doing at the start of this round. They're trying to take strong control in middle and make sure that if there is any problems in middle, they're going to be able to deal with them. So we're going to have indeed the push coming in middle. Let's get in the right place. Okay, so there's Apex. Is he actually going to get this? It's going to slow-mo it. RPK gets the kill. So slow-moing this push here. And because they had the quick support there, they're able to deal with these mid pushes. And the CTs will always have a slight advantage in these spots if they are anticipating it. So really good stuff here. Apex able to take a kill. And Kenya's even coming in with his pistol. And they are going to clean up the entire team. So really nice to have such strong mid presence. Of course, it would have been a much harder round for Titan if Envious had played a little bit slower and played more of a delay strategy, where they're kind of more defensive to begin with and play the delay. But that's not actually happened in this case. And again, you can see Apex using that position really well. And it's definitely something that you guys can steal, like to understand when, spots when you can use that position. The boost was definitely clear. You had no worry from there. The only position that can really be a player is kind of where Happy was. And of course, he has basically the best possible position to deal with that angle, which is, again, the only angle really possible for there to be a player coming at him into middle from. So smart stuff from Apex in middle. Now we can see 4 grenades for Titan. So we've seen some really cool rounds from Titan. I think they really should have won this previous one. They just didn't hit the shots, to be honest, but they played the round really well. I mean, we saw that. We looked at that. We analysed it. But we're on almost 40 minutes. Jesus. I have to say, I do feel a little bit rusty. So I'm really looking forward to doing this more, because actually I kind of enjoy nerding out with you guys on videos like this. And when we go into the future ones with more focus, I'm quite looking forward to just seeing how we can really what we can really learn from the focused approach, because the focused approach is always better. Because when we're doing this, it's like, I'm sure there's lots of interesting thoughts, and you can hear some interesting ideas, but we have such a wide, we're talking about everything about CS right now, instead of just focusing on, let's say, positioning or grenades, or maybe more specifically how the AWPs play a role, or more specifically how the information game is working. Because we could go through all of these rounds and just talk about information. We can talk about how that impacts the round, how teams try to play for information, whether a team is playing enough for information, whether the round was lost, how much the information game played into that, to really just delve into these topics and get a much more detailed look into these certain ideas. Because again, if you're trying to one of the best ways I think to learn stuff is to small chunk it into its composite parts. So hope you guys enjoyed this one, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, remember to check out my website, dankaparty.com. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with the domain name yet. Maybe I'll change it to DDK TV or something like that one day. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, what kind of names I should use. If you have any suggestions, you feel free to throw them at me in the comments. And well, I shall see you for the next one.